Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the fine print of health insurance claims. Before we start, I would like to introduce Happy 60 Plus. Happy 60 Plus is a wellness platform for the elderly in India. And what we do is we provide happiness buddies who are assisting the elderly population in the day-to-day activities, helping them do a lot of chores and take them around to either drive them around to hospitals and tests and other daily outings as possible. And they also are responsible for providing them wellness sessions, tech sessions, yoga sessions. Especially a chair yoga session is very popular among the elderly. We also provide meditation sessions so that they can keep their mental health and physical health both intact. We're also associated with senior travel and day outings so that they remain engaged, they have fun, they remain happy, and to help them feel empowered. And we also have numerous hobby sessions. We have fun sessions, mind gym to keep their cognitive health intact. And we're also happy to tell you that we are recognized by CII as the top women-led startup, and we're also accelerated by IIT Palakkad, and our services are present pan-India and also actually internationally. Our chair yoga is pretty popular across the globe. That's a little bit about Happy 60 Plus. Welcome everyone for this webinar. Before we start, I would like to introduce our speaker of the day. Rahul Venuraj is an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur, and after 7 years of corporate stint at Siemens, he then pursued his MBA from the NUS Business School, Singapore, and he is currently, after that, he worked in a strategy role, and he moved back to India in 2011, where he was fascinated by the early wave of startups mushrooming in the country, and thus started his tryst with this world of edtech, where he has helped over 10 lakh children learn better in his various leadership roles in the industry. After 12 years in edtech, he recently founded GreyUp, which is a venture to de-risk the lives of our beloved senior citizens across domains like health insurance, will making, and senior specific tax planning. So we have Rahul Venuraj here today to help us understand how to avoid common mistakes of insurance and how to maximize our savings. Over to you, Rahul.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. Just double checking. Everyone can hear me and everyone can see my slides, right? Both these? All right. Perfect. So thank you, Hema. And thank you, Happy 60 Plus. I think, when I met Sunita ma'am, we quickly realized that both companies have a very shared vision. We want to ensure that seniors have as less risk as possible. I think retirement is a period to enjoy. And I think both companies are doing wonderful work in that regard. So thank you again. Thank you everyone for taking this evening to spend some time with us. We need about 45 minutes for this session, and then post that. If you could, it would be better to hold questions to the end so that, we can just, because there could be common questions amongst different people. And then we can spend the last 10 to 15 minutes on, share, and I'm happy to even spend a few minutes more if required to answer any kind of questions that you have. Okay, so but again, before I start the session, FYI, this is not meant to scare anybody. I do know that health insurance, either from your own experience or from an experience of a loved one, sometimes tends to be a little complex. It doesn't really work the way we expect it to. Of course, this is a common problem for people at any age. It's a common problem for someone at 25, as much as it's a problem for someone at 60 or 70. However, we take a slightly empathetic route to this because unlike the 25-year-old, the 70-year-old does not have further income. Typically, the income streams are over. And so a sudden jolt to your financial system, if you lose 8, 10, 15, sometimes even 15, 16 lakhs at a time due to either, usually it's because of a disease, a chronic disease that comes, but also it's also because of not understanding your policy if you have one, or not selecting the right one at the right time, right? So that's kind of where we are trying to go with this. So without further ado, I will start now.
Yes.
So basically, I think,
Rahul, one thing,
yes,
I try to interrupt in between. Can we have a mix of Hindi and English?
yeah, no
Yeah,
problem. I
yeah.
can do it completely in Hindi if you want. I mean,
No,
that's
a mix of both.
take it, no problem, no problem.
Yeah.
So basically, first thing is that, we'll have four kinds of people here. So एक होगा group A, which is people who have self-invested in their policies. Na? That is, खुद से they have spent money and they have bought a policy for themselves. Then you may have a group B as well. Group B is basically those people who are part of their child's corporate plan. Or group C hoga, where you get insurance from other sources. So other sources are like sometimes when you go to a bank and you put a big fixed deposit for, let's say, 25 lakhs or 50 lakhs, वो लोग क्या करता है, they give as part of a perk, they give a extra insurance policy sometimes for you, could be with your family. And then of course there are people who जिसके पास insurance होगा भी नहीं, right? So that's group D here. Hopefully we'll have takeaways for all groups here today. So it doesn't matter which of these four groups you belong to. Okay. So, sorry. The first thing is I just want to talk a little bit about the industry. Okay. So this kind of scary looking slide, but it's very simple. Usually our inflation in India is about 5, maybe 6%, maybe 7%, where depends where you read the news. है ना? लेकिन मेडिकल इन्फ्लेशन का क्या है, वो इट्स अबाउट 14%, मतलब उससे भी डबल है. तो डबल, the reason for this, I mean, people do not realize that it's 14%, but it's actually the highest in Asia, which is what you can see on the left here. And it's also one of the highest in the world. Okay. It's not the highest. There are a few countries like in South America, like Chile, I think Ecuador, and a few countries like that have slightly higher medical inflation than us. But other than that, we are one of the highest. And what are the reasons for this? So there's general inflation reasons, which contributes to about that 7%, which is general inflation. Then technology also is getting more complex. The costs of people working in the industry is going higher. And of course, there are some macro events like this Russia-Ukraine war, which leads to lack of supply of certain of technology, etc. But there's another specific thing that has also contributed to this being double in India. One is post-COVID effects. And unfortunately, our country was one of the countries that had a slightly disproportionate effect of COVID. तो उसके वजह से people are now a lot more preventive in their healthcare. So even earlier, if people were not going and doing checkups or trying to identify things earlier, now they are. And because of that, now there is a lot more demand. So that's one of the reasons why most hospitals are seeing a lot more demand. The second thing is lifestyle changes. So as you know, India, we liberalized our economy in 1991. And maybe say 10, 15 years later from 2005, we have all these foreign products. Even our food habits have changed. There's Pepsi, there is, I mean, I don't want to name companies, but there are, soft drinks. There's a lot of sugar in the diet. There's less exercise. There's a lot of convenience. So yes, sir, there's fast food. So ये सब की वजह से from the last 10, 15 years, people are now feeling the effects of this kind of a lifestyle. So that is another thing in our country. This was the timing that it happened, maybe around 2005 से आज तक. So maybe around 18 years or so. These effects are now, it's a cumulative effect and people are seeing the effect on their health. So that's number two. And the third is this very special thing, which is not seen in most other countries. That is, we have always been a very popular country in terms of medical tourism. If you go to any hospital, even in Bangalore, maybe to a Manipal or a Apollo or any of these big hospitals, you'll be surprised in the amount of foreigners that you will see there. Even though the costs have been going up in India year on year, it is still much, much cheaper than the same procedure being done in any other part of the world. Maybe even 1/5 the cost to 1/10 the cost. And hence, this medical tourism has also gained a lot of traction further after COVID in India. And so these are some of the reasons why it's 14%. And 14%, just to make you understand what 14% is, if something increases by 14% every year, that means in 5.14 years, it doubles the price. So if today there is a procedure which is say 8 lakh rupees, say a bypass surgery, if it's 8 lakh rupees in a hospital X, after 5 years, in 2029, this surgery will be about 15 to 16 lakhs. This is what it means, 14% increase. Okay. So this is fine. So this is about medical inflation, and this is unfortunately where we are in the country. However, if you really look at it, how does this impact each of us, right? So first and foremost impact that this inflation of 14% has is the rise in medical. It's an obvious thing, rise in medical expenses. But most of us, we don't realize this increase. Like even some of you may be even surprised to see this number of 14% that costs are going up. But why we don't typically understand this is because most of us in this group, or even most of us in society, our relationship with this industry, this medical industry, is only in this point one here, which is drugs and medication. So even if say a few months back, if one of your, something that you're taking regularly was say 160 rupees for a strip, and let's say 6 months ke baad wo 175 ho jata hai, I don't even think we realize this change because it's a very minuscule amount. But actually, if you look at percentage terms, it's that 14% comes in. Okay. So that is one reason why we don't feel it. We will only feel it when we go to a hospital. And that also, if you go to a hospital today, you may not know what was this cost last year or that same process. Let's say you go for, something to do with cancer, for example, you go for chemotherapy. So there'll be a certain cost today, and we don't have any experience in the past. So we don't know last year what was the cost, 5 years early, what was the cost. But actually speaking, it's increasing by about 14%. The other things that this medical expense increases, the medical equipment, hospitalization, of course, and caregivers, right? So nurses, the cost of nursing at home or nurses in the hospital also increases. So at this time, we realize that this is a big problem that's going to hit the country, because if it goes at this rate of 14%, I think most people's savings, a significant part of that is going to be, wiped out because of expenses due to hospitalization. And at that time, we at GREYUP, we did a lot of analysis on if there is any other way other than insurance to cover these costs, right? So, but you'll notice, what you'll ultimately realize, that even if you save the premium of, let's say somebody here doesn't have a policy because either they don't trust companies or they just don't feel the value in that, even if you save the premium for the next 15 years, you'll probably end up saving up for one hospitalization, which could be about 8 or 9 lakhs. But these days, unfortunately, we see people with chronic illnesses having multiple hospitalizations in their lifetime, sometimes even in the same year. And especially for senior citizens, if you have two seniors, you and your spouse in the same plan, it's very likely that the policy will be used multiple times. So hospitalization happens multiple times. And so not having an insurance policy, actually, given that we are in a country with 14% medical inflation, is a very risky thing. I'm not saying nobody can do it, but it's extremely risky, right? Because we don't know the future. So that's one point. The second effect, other than the rise in medical expenses, is this, that you will see a rise. Obviously, insurance premiums are going up. So when insurance premiums are going up, now this is already a product. Look at it from the insurance company's point of view. This is already a product that they are trying hard to make popular, right? And now if they have to increase the price of something, that makes it very hard for them to penetrate the market, correct? So what you see is this particular third. So why is insurance premiums increasing? Because the average claim ka size, because every year the size of the claims, the hospital bills basically are increasing. So they need to obviously maintain profitability. They're not an NGO. So to maintain the same profitability, they'll have to increase the premiums. So, but they can't increase the premiums, because the more they increase the premiums, if they increase it too much, then people are going to either they can't penetrate newer users, and even existing users may drop out. So what happens? So this is the biggest problem that happens. So the reason why you go to a company, if you go abroad, if you go to, let's say you go to the US, or you go to Australia, or go to the UK, you go to one company and you say, I want a policy. There's only one policy. But in India, if you go to one company, it could be anything, ICICI, HDFC, Care Health, Max Bupa, Niva Bupa, they'll have some 10, 15 policies each. Why? Because they have to make these many variants to lower the premiums. If they give all the features, so this is their strategy, that if things are becoming expensive, हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं, हम लोग कुछ फीचर्स जो है हम लोग इसको ट्रेड ऑफ की तरह कर सकते हैं, लाइक इसमें ये डबल होगा लेकिन इसमें ये 0 होगा, उसमें ये 1.5 टाइम्स होगा लेकिन इसमें सिर्फ हाफ होगा. तो ऐसा ये लोग क्या करेंगे, ये लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, ये लोग पॉलिसी वेरिएंट्स बना रहे हैं, लाइक अबाउट 10-15 वेरिएंट्स फॉर ईच कंपनी. If you remember, I'm sure you will remember that when I bought my car for the first time in 2003, a Ford Icon, उस समय the left side mirror was optional. I don't know if you guys remember, but that time when I used to go to the bottommost, the lowest variant jo hota tha, that was the left side mirror was optional. Now today, can you imagine any car coming in the market which does not have the left side mirror? Ye to hai hi nahi. This is not even an option. So that time, so basically that time they did it because they wanted the entry price of the vehicle to be low. Okay. So now, because people are, now cars have become popular, it's becoming it's not considered a luxury to have a car anymore. Since that has broken, now they don't have to do these kind of little things. So they give cars come with a left side mirror, right? But insurance today, health insurance is kind of in that stage when it's still yet to become a mass market thing. So they are trying different things to sell it to people. So that's the problem here that we're trying to solve, that when there are so many options, first of all, there are so many companies. Uske upar every company has 10 or 12 options. Then how does one select the right policy? Most of us would have come across some agent or the other to buy a policy, but the agents unfortunately have their own agendas or their own goals, right? So they may not 100% be truthful, and that's something that we realized, and that's what we're trying to solve here. So moving ahead, the next thing is, so you will have these kind of variants. So if you see the screen, these are just a small section of the different features that a single health insurance policy can have. And obviously, when jab selection ka time aata hai, it's impossible for us to really understand all these features. But some of these features are so critical for a senior citizen, and we will hopefully understand that by the end of this session. Okay. So there's a lot of complex terms, as you can see, legal like jargon hote hai. If you read the policy ka jo document hota hai, usme it'll be like like काफी सारे complex terms होते हैं उसमें, so nobody can understand. And unfortunately, because it's usually based on this agent concept of selling, तो rampant mis-selling भी होता है. Okay, so let's understand this problem first. So let's first, to understand which of these, let's start with an example. So ये एक typical example है. I'll just run you through this example. एक claim का एक instance है ये. Imagine that you have 15 lakh का cover. Okay, so a policy, you have a 15 lakh का cover, and let's say for some hospitalization, let's say it was a minor bypass surgery, or let's say it was something, it doesn't matter. ये आता है bill around 6 lakh. I'll run you through this. तो रूम रेंट 7 दिन का हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन था, तो 10,000 per day, 70,000. ICU charges out of the 7 days, 3 days you are in ICU also, so उसका 20,000 per day, उसका 60,000 आ गया. Surgery, the actual surgery that was done is about 2 lakh rupees. काफी सारे tests होते हैं before the operation, then during, just as a prep for the operation bhi hote hai, then after there'll be follow-up tests, etc. All these in the hospital came to about 1,50,000. The medicines, totally everything that they used, including cotton and everything that they're using, is about 80,000. And then, the doctor ka jo visit hota hai. So usually if you're hospitalized, if any of you have experience, you will know that the doctor comes in the morning, and the same doctor, the main doctor, comes again at night to just check that you're feeling better, to check if you have any sudden symptoms, to feel if your diet is going well and you're getting stronger. So this visit, about 3,000 rupees a day. So 7 days, so 14 visits ho gaya, so 42,000. Okay. So I hope this example is clear. And typically anybody would expect that agar 15 lakh ka cover hai, and ye jo bill aaya hai, आधा भी नहीं है, like it's not even 7.5 lakhs, it's just 6 lakhs. So typically you would expect this bill to be covered easily, right? And I would also expect this, even I expected this, but let's see what exactly happens. So first you go to your insurer and you say, here's my bill and this is my policy, please give me my 6 lakh back. He will first say, hold on, sir. I just want to, there's a few points points that I want to tell you. The first thing is about the room rent. So in your policy, if you notice that clause number, certain number, you have a room rent capping of 5,000 rupees per day. Okay. And he'll show you this and you will go and you'll read it in your policy. You'll say, अच्छा, really, we have a room rent का capping. ठीक है, तो उससे क्या हुआ? So he'll say, sir, हम आपका 5,000 का ही लिमिट है, आपने 10,000 का लिया है, तो instead of 70,000, ये 7 days का मैं 5,000 per day दे सकता हूँ, तो 35,000 I can give you. So you're like, okay, ठीक है, पता नहीं था, तो instead of 6,02,000, you give 35,000 तो ठीक है, मेरे पॉकेट से आप ले लीजिए, and बैलेंस हो गया 5,67,000, right? And you're like, okay, ठीक है, अभी क्या कर सकते हैं, that's fine. Then he'll say, but no sir, wait sir, और एक चीज है, ICU चार्जेस भी जो 20,000 है, टिपिकली ICU चार्ज जो होता है हॉस्पिटल्स में, वो जो नॉर्मल रूम का रेट होता है उसका डबल होता है. तो एक्चुअल हॉस्पिटल में अगर 10,000 का रूम का रेट था दिन का, तो ICU का चार्ज होगा दिन का 20,000 रुपीज. बट सिमिलरली एक प्रॉब्लम है कि पॉलिसी में ही विल शो यू दैट 5,000 आपका लिमिट था रूम का, और उसका डबल 10,000 था आपका लिमिट ICU का. ओके, सो नाउ यू आर लाइक गेटिंग रियली थोड़ा सा एजिटेटेड, फ्रस्ट्रेटेड, है ना? तो अभी 35,000 गया रूम के लिए, 30,000 आपके जेब से गया ICU चार्जेस के लिए. ओके, सो नाउ यू आर लाइक, ओके ठीक है, एटलीस्ट 5,37,000 तो आएगा, नेक्स्ट टाइम आई डू बेटर, मेरे को पढ़ना चाहिए था वो पॉलिसी डॉक्यूमेंट, मैंने पढ़ा नहीं, तो यू नो यू फील लाइक इट्स योर फॉल्ट थोड़ा सा, एंड देन यू आर लाइक, ओके वील गो अहेड. The next point that I'm saying, so this is for everybody here, even if you don't remember anything that I say in this presentation, please remember this next point that I'm saying, because it's a very important. Okay. Now you are expecting this 5,37,000 and room ka sab kuch ho gaya na. Now he will raise one very important clause called proportionate deduction. Okay. And I'll try to explain in simple English what this means. Okay. Don't read it. It's tough to read it because policy document का जो language है वो बहुत tough है. So basically proportionate deduction का मतलब ये है कि whatever percentage मैं आपका रूम का रेंट कवर करूंगा, वही परसेंटेज मैं बाकी सब चीज आपके बिल में कवर करूंगा. This is the meaning of proportionate deduction. I'll repeat. Whatever percentage my policy covers your per day room rent, the same percentage I will cover everything else in your bill. जो भी line item है आपके bill में, I will cover that in the same percentage except medicines. Okay, medicines जो है IRDAI is the regulatory authority of India, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India. उनका एक guideline है which says that medicines have to be always charged based on MRP. तो medicines को छोड़ के everything else on the bill will be, and this is there in all policies. Okay, this is there in your policy, in my policy, जो भी policies India में है, in fact it's there in all policies in the world, that if you take something above your room rent capping, we will cover the same person. So now what happens? So now going back to the presentation, now this is what happens. So now it's become very serious. आपका 35,000 गया for the room and 30,000 for ICU, which was still okay. But अभी जो है, जो बाकी के चीजें हैं इसमें, 2,50,000, the insurance person will say 50% रूम रेंट कवर हुआ था ना, तो ये सब जो चीज है मैं 50% कवर करूंगा एक्सेप्ट मेडिसिन. तो ये हो गया 1,25,000. टेस्ट का जो 1,20,000 हुआ, दैट्स नाउ 60,000, वो लोग वापस देगा हमको. मेडिसिन तो पूरा कवर हो ही रहा है, एंड डॉक्टर्स विजिट्स का 21,000. सो नाउ even though you have a 15 lakh ka policy, your 6 lakh ka bill is covered by the insurance company only 3,31,000. And now though you are super frustrated, right? You're like, this is absolutely unbelievable that you took a 15 lakh policy and a 6 lakh bill is covered to just about half, right? Now there's nothing to do. You have to pay that to leave the hospital, and then he will come with the final झटका. He will say, sir, ये सब खत्म करने के बाद आपका एक और चीज है, वो एक को पेमेंट. तो आपने जब पॉलिसी लिया था, आपने बोला कि यू विल शेयर 20% ऑफ द कॉस्ट. जो मेरा पार्ट है वो उसका 20% आप शेयर करेगा. तो यू टुक अ पॉलिसी विच वाज हैविंग 20% को पेमेंट. तो इसका मतलब यह है कि मेरा जो पार्ट है फाइनली, उसका 20% यू सेड यू विल पे. बिकॉज दिस, ये जो क्लॉज है आपने अभी तक अप्लाई नहीं किया ना, ऑल द अदर थिंग्स वाज बिकॉज ऑफ रूम रेंट, ये सब जो है ये सब रूम रेंट और प्रोपोर्शनेट डिडक्शन की वजह से हुआ कटिंग। अभी लास्ट स्टेप में मैं ये भी कट करूंगा बिकॉज आपने ही लिया था पॉलिसी 20% को पेमेंट वाला। तो ये होता है फाइनल। तो जस्ट इमेजिन, तो ये यू गेट 2,65,000 अप्रोक्सीमेटली out of a bill of 6 lakh in spite of having a 15 lakh cover. Okay. And which ये एक term, there's a term in the health insurance space जो जिसका ये लोग बोलते हैं out of pocket expense, OOPE। तो आपका OOPE इस केस में 3,37,000 आपके जेब से जाता है, and you get 56, basically 56% आपके जेब से गया इसमें, इस एग्जाम्पल में, और 44% was covered by the hospital. ओके एंड ये जो 44% क्लेम कवरेज हो गया है इज ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ दीज टू क्लॉजेस। सो यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड प्रोपोर्शनेट डिडक्शन जो रूम रिलेटेड वाला प्रोपोर्शनेट डिडक्शन है एंड को पेमेंट अलोन has brought this out, and these two deductions are there in most policies. 90% मैंने लिखा है but 98% policies में होगा. Okay, we will see how to avoid these problems, but this is a typical claim instance. I hope with this example you are able to understand a little bit where I'm coming from. So is this proportionate deduction unfair? So now the next question is, why do they do this here? What is this thing कि room का जो balance है I could have paid, but why are they cutting everything 50%? So let's understand this. हम लोग ने थोड़ा research किया है. We asked hospitals, we asked insurance companies. So first let's understand the insurance company का side. Insurance companies ये बोलते हैं कि I don't know if you know that hospitals ना they charge differently based on the room. तो basically एक जो room है, so suppose आप एक shared room में हो, the doctor का visit जो है maybe 1,000 rupees per visit. And just बगल में अगर एक room कुछ डिलक्स रूम है, सपोज सिंगल प्राइवेट रूम, द सेम डॉक्टर सेम 5 मिनट के लिए जाता है, लेकिन वहां पे द कॉस्ट ऑफ दैट में भी 2,500 रुपीज पर विजिट. ओके, एंड दिस इज नॉट जस्ट फॉर डॉक्टर विजिट, इवन द सर्जरी चार्जेस are different based on the room. The price of cotton will be different based on the room. The price of nurse will be different based on the room. Even the price of the food that you have may be different in some hospitals based on the food. So what insurance company is saying is, देखिए अपने पास एक डील था, आपने बोला 5,000 का रूम आप लोगे, मैंने पॉलिसी दिया आपको, सो नाउ यू हैव टेकन अ डिफरेंट रूम. नाउ आपने हायर वाला रूम लिया. Now, if everything else was the same price, I would have charged you. I would have only deducted the room का difference amount. लेकिन सब चीज का दाम बढ़ गया है because you've taken the higher room. Sometimes 2 times, sometimes 3 times of the cost. That's why I cannot bear that cost ना, because अपना deal हुआ था 5,000 room का. Okay, so the insurer his responsibility is to limit these extra charges. So that's why the insurance company has this kind of a concept called proportionate deduction. ठीक है. So then what we did, एक और step further हम लोग ने गया और hospital से पूछा कि भाई why do you guys have this kind of differential pricing in the first place? Insurance companies are having this clause called proportionate deduction. So then we asked the hospitals, and hospitals came and told us, now this is something that is common to all developing countries. It's there in Indonesia, it's there in Vietnam, it's there in Brazil, it's there in all the subcontinent, it's there in Sri Lanka, it's there in Bangladesh. Now what happens in this point is that in most of these countries, poor people do not have access to good medical support, okay, including in India, right? Good medical support should not be only available for the rich. So in all these countries, it's a universal thing. It's nothing to do with India. Please don't blame the companies here, the hospitals here. It's a very common practice. So if something is 100 rupees, suppose, if they charge 100 rupees for that, then India is like a pyramid. So poor people are a lot more. There are a lot more poor people than the chotu sa jo pyramid ke upar hai. Most of us who are middle class or above is a small part of this pyramid. Okay, so if you charge 100 rupees, most of these people will not be able to afford it. So what they do instead, this is a common practice, they will say कुछ लोगों के लिए I'll charge 20 rupees, वही चीज के लिए. कुछ लोगों को I'll charge 60, some people 100, some people 140, and some people 180. So net hospitals will get average of 100, but good healthcare will be accessible to even the poor people because they can pay 20 and 60. Of course, these figures are just an example for everybody here. ऐसा नहीं है कि exact numbers है, but you got the sense what I'm saying. एक चीज का दाम जो है, they do differential pricing. Instead of charging 100, they charge 20, 60, 100, 140, 180, and they do this based on the room. room selected. Okay, so net, is it unfair? I don't think it's entirely unfair. I think both sides have a valid point. This is part of the healthcare system, not just in India, but in all developing countries. Of course, insurers, the insurance companies can be more transparent about proportionate deduction and clauses like this while selling. Hospitals also, when you go and जब हम लोग hospitals में जाते हैं, यही problem है ना, that the hospital का जो room availability होता है, it's not in our control. So when you go, whether it's emergency or whether it's a planned procedure next Saturday के लिए, they always will tell you, at least in my experience, that ये 2-3 जो rooms है, it's not available. Now room के वजह से we like this doctor here, तो room के वजह से हम लोग दूसरे hospital में तो नहीं जाएंगे ना, तो usually we'll then go for a higher room, and that's where all the calculations go for a toss. So room selection in many cases, even though it's not for luxury that we want to go and take a higher room, वो available ही नहीं होता hospitals में. Okay, so that is the reason why the onus is finally on us. So hospitals, of course, they can be more transparent when you select the room. They can tell कि sir इसके वजह से सिर्फ room का difference नहीं होगा. Finally, आपके claim में थोड़ा और मतलब deduction हो सकता है, etc. They don't tell it. I agree to that point, but that's why we are here and we are trying to help you. Okay, so the onus is on the buyers to choose or upgrade to the right policies where such deductions are not there, and we'll come to that. That's the next step. Just pause for a second here. I hope everything is clear so far. Is in case
Yes.
anyone can tell me?
Yes, Rahul.
Okay, thank you. So I'll move forward. Okay, so this is proportionate deduction. So now we have, so now look at their magic bullet. This is the magic bullet. See, we need to understand one thing, that how much it's a math, ultimately ये mathematics है. How much ever the insurance company collects, उससे ज़्यादा सबको, I mean total मिला के, सबका मिला के, they cannot give out. So they will try some, let's say they have some magic bullets. Okay, so one is partial claim. So whenever there is a claim, they will try to give part of that claim, because they will try to sell you policies which have room rent limits, and they will try to sell you policies by saying sir सस्ता है sir, और थोड़ा सस्ता है, आप 2000 बचा सकते हो 5000 बचा सकते हो. They will try to sell you policies with these two clauses. Okay, and just for information, if you buy a policy without a room rent limit, अगर room rent का limit ही नहीं है, that means all rooms are applicable to you in the hospital, and then वो proportionate deduction clause ही नहीं आएगा, because आपका, if you have a policy with no room rent capping, मतलब आपका जो room rent है वो 100% cover हो जाएगा. अगर वो 100% cover हो रहा है, तो फिर as per that proportionate deduction clause, सब अलग जो भी line items है bill में, वो सब 100% cover हो जाएगा. So this is the trick that they use. They will try their best to give you policies with single, and please remember, ये जो capping होता है room rent का, वो 2 type के हो सकते हैं. हमारे example में we saw it's a number, मतलब 5000 रुपए मैंने डाला था example में. कुछ cases में ये category of room भी हो सकता है. So they can say shared room या single private AC room. ये common चीज होता है, single private AC room. एक चीज आपको ध्यान रखना है कि ये जो सिंगल प्राइवेट एसी रूम होता है, इट इज द लोएस्ट सिंगल प्राइवेट एसी रूम इन दैट हॉस्पिटल. तो एक हॉस्पिटल के जो मेन्यू कार्ड होंगे, उसमें 10 टाइप के रूम्स होंगे. बॉटम 2 शेयर्ड रूम्स होंगे, छोड़ दीजिए. बाकी 8 जो रूम्स होते हैं ना, दिल से सिंगल रूम, दिल से स्पेशल सिंगल रूम, फिर डिलक्स, सुपर डिलक्स, स्वीट, एक्स्ट्रा, देन एग्जीक्यूटिव स्वीट, प्रेसिडेंशियल स्वीट, ऐसे अलग टाइप के होते हैं. दे ऑल डिफर बाय द साइज ऑफ द रूम. थोड़ा फैसिलिटीज इंप्रूव होता है, लाइक थोड़ा कुछ रूम्स में फ्रिज वगैरह होते हैं, एंड देन देयर आर एक्स्ट्रा रूम फॉर योर बाईस्टैंडर टू स्लीप, फैमिली भी सो सकते हैं. सो ऑल दीज काइंड ऑफ रूम्स आर देयर, बट द मोटा पॉइंट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से इज दैट ये जो 8 सिंगल रूम्स होते हैं उनके मेन्यू कार्ड में, व्हेन द इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी आपका अगर उस पर सिंगल प्राइवेट एसी रूम लिखा होता है, इट मीन्स द लोएस्ट सिंगल, जो सबसे नीचे वाला है उसमें, दैट इज व्हाट यू आर एलिजिबल फॉर. सो मेनी टाइम्स दैट मे नॉट बी अवेलेबल. आप 1-2 levels ऊपर आपको लेना ही पड़ता है, and then comes this problem of proportionate deduction. To solve all this problem, just take a policy, without room rent capping, even if it is 4,000-5,000 rupees extra. As my example showed you, it will save you lakhs and lakhs of rupees in each hospitalization. मतलब multiple hospitalization में आपको you will save more than maybe 10-15 lakhs by just making sure that you don't have a room rent cap. इसके इन दोनों के अलावा there is one more point that my example didn't touch, वो ये है disease wise sub limits. तो कुछ policies में even if you take 15, ये example में हम लोग touch नहीं किया था, but it's another important point. तो आपका मान लो कि आपका 15 लाख का कवर है, बट दे विल से ये 15 लाख जो है आपका पूरा मतलब वेलबींग के लिए है साल का. इसमें कैंसर इज ओनली 3 लाख, नी रिप्लेसमेंट का मैक्सिमम 2 लाख, या इट्स अलग अलग सब लिमिट्स होंगे अलग अलग डिजीजेस के लिए. सो दैट्स द we don't want policies like that. So we want policies where there are no disease wise sub limits. मतलब अगर 15 लाख का पॉलिसी हो या 5 लाख का हो, वो 5 लाख जो है it is there for anything and everything that we have, for whatever problems we have. Don't tell me कि cataract का इतना है, इस knee replacement का उतना है. We don't want these sub limits. So these are the 3 things I hope everyone can remember. These are the 3 things that we have to 100% avoid in our policies. ठीक है? So that's about this. So what we saw right now, so what we saw right now is this partial claim problem. So example भी अपना partial claim का था. 6 lakh का जो claim, 6 lakh का जो claim था, we got only 2.5 lakhs back. This is the partial claim, one of their biggest magic bullets, making us take policies with these 3 things. 100% इसको avoid करना चाहिए. However sweet the deal may be, इसको avoid ही करना चाहिए. Now और एक problem है which is called the zero claim problem. तो zero claim का मतलब ये है कि they say that calculation तो छोड़ दो, we cannot participate only in this claim. ये जो आपने दिया हमको, we unfortunately because of some clause we cannot participate, there is no calculation. So what are some of the common reasons for that? First thing is pre-existing diseases. तो especially senior citizens को मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि when you take a policy for the first time, starting में whatever diseases you have at that time, ये होता है pre-existing diseases, PED बोलते हैं ये लोग. तो be 100% honest, don't hide anything. The more you tell honestly, the better it is for your long run. Don't cover something and say नहीं ये छोटा सा है आप मत लिख दीजिए and all. Don't do all that, because अगर आप कुछ भी hide करोगे ना, तो when you get hospitalized, when the doctor asks for your history, that time हमेशा हम लोग truthfully होते हैं ना. So we'll tell the doctor कि ये 5 साल से चल रहा है, ये थोड़ा सा पेन आया था, या फर्स्ट टाइम मेरा शुगर का ये 6 साल पहले हुआ था. All you'll tell honestly only ना. Nobody is going to lie to the doctor. तो ये जो होता है डॉक्टर के रिपोर्ट के अंदर जाता है. And then when the hospital, when the इंश्योरेंस कंपनी सीज दैट, ये लोग बोलेंगे कि आपने तो लेकिन 3 साल पहले ही स्टार्ट किया इंश्योरेंस, तो आपने बताया नहीं कि ये 6 साल से चल रहा है वगैरह. सो you will have a problem, and then so if there is a pre-existing which you are not honest about, they will not participate in the claim. So this is particularly for senior citizens. Usually youngsters, younger youth के लिए ये pre-existing conditions ज़्यादा होता नहीं है, लेकिन for seniors it's definitely very very common. Second thing is कुछ waiting periods होते हैं. I want you to understand the waiting periods. So firstly, why are waiting periods there in policies? Why can't everything just start from day one? Because फिर एक बड़ा सा loophole होगा ना. People will, so imagine today I go to the doctor and the doctor says, Rahul, आपको थोड़ा breathlessness था ना, तो मैंने कुछ टेस्ट किया and आपके हार्ट में 4 ब्लॉक है suppose. Okay, then I'll say, madam please don't write anything. मैं ना आज शाम को I'll go to policy bazaar, I'll buy a policy, and उसके बाद कल मैं आता हूँ and then you write in the prescription कि मेरे को whatever bypass या angioplasty चाहिए, right? So this is a loophole. So obviously, and then nobody will buy policy early. Everybody can just use this loophole. So obviously insurance companies can't work that way. So that is why सब जो भी जहां से भी आप इंश्योरेंस लोगे, पहले एक इनिशियल वेटिंग पीरियड होता है for the first 30 days. Just when you start the policy, not when you renew the policy. If today I start a policy, अगर मैं पॉलिसी बाजार या कहीं से मैं जाके मैंने अगर पॉलिसी लिया आज, तो आज का डेट क्या है 28th. तो 28th of September तक I cannot make any claims other than accidents. Accident तो planned नहीं होता. I cannot उसको manipulate नहीं कर सकता ना. तो कल if I fall in the bathroom and break my leg और कुछ car accident होता है, whatever, that is all covered. But ये जो diseases होते हैं, which they know you can game the system through the doctors, तो ये जो है that is covered only after 30 days. तो ये एक चीज हुआ. एक और चीज है which is slow, ये specific illness waiting period बोलते हैं, but it's also called slow growing illness. So just like just like that 30 days वाला critical condition जो मैंने बोला, sometimes there are some illnesses like knee replacement या cataract जिसका diagnosis बहुत पहले होता है and उसका actual operation बाद में होता है. Like for example, the first time when somebody has a cataract problem, doctor doesn't say immediately करना है. डॉक्टर क्या बोलते हैं कि ये आई ड्रॉप्स ले लीजिए, ये तो एनीवे ये बढ़ेगा, डेफिनेटली बढ़ेगा कैटरेक्ट का प्रॉब्लम नेक्स्ट ईयर या उसके बाद यू कीप कमिंग फॉर अ चेकअप, वी विल do the test and we will do cataract का ऑपरेशन 2 साल के बाद या 1 साल के बाद या 3 साल के बाद, whatever. नी रिप्लेसमेंट भी वही है, फर्स्ट यू विल गेट सम पेन, इमीडिएटली डॉक्टर नी रिप्लेसमेंट का सोल्यूशन नहीं देते हैं एक्चुअली, गुड डॉक्टर्स एटलीस्ट. सो they will say you try this, you do this physiotherapy, all that, but बाद में slow and steady it becomes weaker, and then at one stage you will need to do knee replacement. So these kind of diseases which are diagnosed early but do not need any operation or intervention at that time, needed later, are called slow growing illnesses. So these slow growing illnesses also people may misuse the insurance policy. Like मेरा अगर cataract है, I may go to the doctor and say, sir, I mean, मेरा cataract 1 साल से चल रहा है and I know next year operation का time आ रहा है, तो I may go and take a policy now and not talk about my cataract and all that. So that is why any policy that you take in India, irrespective of who you are and what age you are, ये जो दो चीज है, initial waiting period of 30 days, first time buying, and starting 2 years, ये जो slow growing illnesses होते हैं वो cover नहीं होते. Okay, this is irrespective of this thing. This is to prevent loopholes in the system and them being cheated out of money. ये जो third वाला है, this is PED, pre-existing disease. कुछ so this is basically individualistic. ये दोनों जो है ये सब लोगों के लिए common होता है. ये it only depends on people who have pre-existing conditions like diabetes, cholesterol, BP, thyroid, asthma, जो भी हो, heart related, कुछ भी हो सकता है. And इसका जो है because उसका risk बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, they will usually cover you when you start the policy. They'll cover after 3 to 4 years. So you start the policy, 3 या 4 renewals के बाद ये जो existing ये चीजें होते हैं, they will cover. That is why it's very important for people to take policies early and not after they get diseases. See, asthma, BP, cholesterol इतना common है कि उसके होने के बावजूद भी हमको policy मिल जाएगा. But if you get anything else like unfortunately cancer or a severe liver disease or kidney disease or any of those kind of things, if it comes, bypass operation, anything to do with heart, angioplasty, then it becomes very hard to get a policy. So that is why it's always best, at as early as possible, when you can afford it, maybe in your 50s at least, to start a policy so that you can cover this PED. एक बार, see, once you take the policy, जो भी आता है उसके बाद is not a pre-existing condition, it's a post condition. So everything will be covered. But pre-existing condition is the biggest challenge that we at GreyUp, we help people get insurance policies correctly. And we find this is one of the hardest things to sometimes to get policies for seniors. So ये हो गया second. So one reason why zero claim is pre-existing if you said some lie. Second thing is, if you're going to the company during these waiting periods for that illness, particular illness which is not yet covered, uska bhi zero claim ho sakta hai. Third, very important cheez hai, modern treatments. So modern treatments now more and more, if you read the papers, you will see that robotic surgeries bhi start hua hai, stem cell therapy start hua hai, oral chemotherapy. So chemotherapy pehle 5-7 years pehle, they used to only do intravenous, matlab through the veins. But now there are lots of cancers where you can take this chemotherapy orally as a tablet. तो उसका benefit क्या है? उसमें side effects बहुत कम होता है, like hair loss, skin rashes, all these, appetite loss, all is much lesser. So wherever people can afford it, they take oral chemotherapy. Okay, and that is also considered modern treatment. So my point I'm trying to say is, you must also, maybe you started this policy 10 years back or 5 years back, but now you must make sure that it covers modern treatment, because you're not going to use the policy today. You may be going to use your policy, touch wood, you never have to use your policy, right? But we are taking insurance for the worst case scenario. So let me talk about it. 10 years down the line, 8 years down the line, you will be using this policy, and that time modern treatments और आएंगे. More and more things will be covered by robotic surgeries. More and more modern therapies will come. So you must make sure that if you're prepping, you're taking this policy for the future, that it covers modern treatments. Okay. So if it's a modern treatment, that also they will say zero, sorry, sir, we are not participating in the claim. Next, क्या है? Intimation delays. It's very important when you have a planned surgery. दो type के surgeries होते हैं, like procedure होते हैं. या तो प्लान्ड होता है, विद द डॉक्टर सेज ठीक है नेक्स्ट सैटरडे को करेंगे, अर्जेंट नहीं है, लेकिन नेक्स्ट सैटरडे को ऑपरेशन थिएटर हम लोग बुक कर रहे हैं फ्रॉम मॉर्निंग सेशन फॉर योर फादर और फॉर योर मदर और फॉर योर वाइफ और वॉट एवर इट इज। तो ये होता है प्लान सर्जरी। प्लान सर्जरीज यू मस्ट इन्फॉर्म द इंश्योरेंस कंपनी 48 to 72 आवर्स, मतलब 2 या 3 दिन पहले से आपको इन्फॉर्म करना पड़ेगा टू दीज गाइस। ओके, दिस इज टू मेक योर क्लेम्स गो स्मूथली। ऐसा नहीं है कि इफ यू टेल देम ओनली ऑन द लास्ट डे दे वोंट गिव द क्लेम, बट दे विल हैव ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ क्वेश्चंस एंड थिंग्स दैट। सो दैट्स नंबर 1। दूसरा क्या, किस टाइप का हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन होता है? इमरजेंसी हॉस्पिटल, जो प्लान नहीं होता, अनप्लान्ड होता है। उस केस में you must inform them within 24 hours. Now it should be you or your, if you so that's the other thing that we have to touch upon, right? Your insurance policy, you must let your closest people know, even sometimes your neighbor also, because if you are unconscious, your neighbor will be the one taking you to the hospital, unfortunately, right? And that time they'll ask him or her for the details of your policy. So don't keep this policy locked in your cupboard, right? Or in your WhatsApp as a PDF. Please share it with your children, your wife or your husband, and also even your neighbor, if you're, especially if you're staying alone. Okay, so this intimation is very important. If it's unplanned, that is emergency, within 24 hours, because sometimes, see, there are hospitals in India that also cheat insurance companies by making false claims. They'll just get some policy from somewhere and say this person is there in my, so sometimes insurance companies will come, especially if the hospital is not having a good track record, they'll come and check. तो चेक करने के लिए फर्स्ट 24 आवर्स में वो लोग आएंगे चेक करने के लिए. सो दैट इज व्हाई दे से इन द फर्स्ट 24 hours, this is to check whether, see, unfortunately now, how much ever we talk about bad about the insurance companies, and I'm not here to defend them or anything, अपने कंट्री में unfortunately ये सब चीजें होते हैं, and so all these rules and all these kind of special things have to be there, but that's little bit, I guess, as a society, our fault also. But it's there for a reason, and that's what I wanted to explain to you. And if it's a reimbursement, ये cashless का है. I hope you understand cashless and reimbursement. दोनों same चीज ही है. The only difference is, अगर आपका bill, in my example, for example, 6 लाख का जो bill है, they said they'll give you 2.5 lakhs ना. तो in the cashless case, 2.5 lakhs ऑटोमेटिकली सेटल हो जाता है. आपको बैलेंस 3.5 lakhs देके आपको निकलना है हॉस्पिटल से. रीइंबर्समेंट केस में, इफ इट्स नॉट अ नेटवर्क हॉस्पिटल, अगर वो जो हॉस्पिटल है इट्स नॉट अ नेटवर्क हॉस्पिटल ऑफ योर इंश्योरेंस कंपनी, देन उस केस में आपको पूरा जो 6 लाख है देना पड़ेगा पहले, फिर बिल्स वगैरह सबमिट करने के बाद आपको वो 2.5 lakhs वापस आ जाएगा. सो दिस इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन कैशलेस एंड रीइंबर्समेंट. ओके, एंड लास्ट चीज ये है कि one important thing is that many people, they don't realize that network hospital के लिस्ट पूछते हैं सब लोग, लेकिन ब्लैक लिस्टेड हॉस्पिटल्स कभी चेक नहीं करते. आप किसी भी, आपका अगर आपका इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी है, आपको उनके साइट में जाके ब्लैक लिस्टेड हॉस्पिटल के लिस्ट निकालना पड़ेगा. मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली इट मे नॉट बी द हॉस्पिटल क्लोज टू योर हाउस, बट समटाइम्स इट कुड बी, एंड इफ इट इज, एंड आपको स्पेशली इफ इट्स अ रीइंबर्समेंट वाला, अगर आप रीइंबर्समेंट के लिए डिपेंड कर रहे हो, तो उसके बाद फाइनली जब आप बिल्स दोगे, they'll say sorry, this is a blacklisted. Blacklist इसलिए होते हैं because they would have cheated this company in the past and the fraud would have been exposed. तो उसके वजह से some there are only few, but even then, for the sake of completeness, I want to tell you, please check this. I have 1 or 2 clients of ours who have unfortunately suffered because of this point. ठीक है? And then any other, obviously आपका जो form होता है which you fill, if there's wrong information, PAN card, Aadhaar card mismatch, date का age का mismatch वगैरह अगर कुछ है, and if the policy is lapsed, मतलब एक दिन से भी अगर lapse हुआ है, then you won't, it will be a zero claim. Okay, so these are some of the zero claims. So we have covered 2 types of problems, partial claims and now zero claims. The bigger problem is partial claims, everyone. That is the most common problem. जो एक बिल आता है उसका एक पार्शियल ये लोग रीइंबर्स कर देते हैं. ये जो चीजें हैं, इट्स मोर ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट, इसमें कुछ लोचा नहीं है वैसे, बट इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर यू ऑल टू नो कि ये चीजें हैं एंड इसका ध्यान में रखना चाहिए बस. ओके, नाउ द नेक्स्ट थिंग इज, बट वी आल्सो हैव वी हैव अ न्यू बुलेट to solve this problem. So abhi tak we are discussing all the problems. So let's discuss the next, what is the solution to some of these problems. Okay, so solution to these problems are, first thing is, in 2021 IRDA said you can do porting of policies, means you can correct your policy or you can change your policy. So pehle kya hota, like you can change your mobile number, like we change our mobile number from Airtel to Jio or Jio to Vodafone. Number same रहता है, लेकिन सर्विस प्रोवाइडर चेंज होता है. Same way, what you can do in insurance is if you realize that you have a policy with room rent capping, or you have co-payment or disease-wise sublimits, or some of these problems that I'm saying, or if you just had one experience and they made you suffer, their service was not good and you want to change, whatever the reason may be, we can port. And the meaning of porting is that ये जो waiting periods होते हैं ना, अगर एक policy में अगर आपका diabetes था when you started the policy, उस पॉलिसी फर्स्ट पॉलिसी एंड उसका से 3 साल का वेटिंग पीरियड था. सपोज मान लीजिए कि वो खत्म हो गया, 3 साल खत्म हो गया, अभी डायबिटीज भी कवर हो रहा है आपके पॉलिसी में. तो अभी तो उसके बाद अगर आप पॉलिसी पोर्ट करोगे टू अनदर पॉलिसी, द वेटिंग पीरियड विल बी कैरी फॉरवर्ड. मतलब उस नए पॉलिसी से भी मे बी फर्स्ट डे से आपको डायबिटीज का कवर मिल जाएगा. ओके, अदरवाइज पहले क्या होता था, यू हैड टू बाय अ न्यू पॉलिसी. पोर्टिंग होता नहीं था बिफोर 2021, सो दैट टाइम you have to buy a new policy. So कोई change करता नहीं था, used to feel very restricted. In spite of all these problems, हम लोग कोई change नहीं करते थे, because especially senior citizens, because ये जो waiting period फिर से करना है तो वो बहुत risky हो जाता है, expose हो जाता है लोग. But now you can easily port. So the reasons why you need to port without any additional period होता है porting, that's the difference between porting and buying a fresh policy. एक होता है hidden constraints, जो आपको अभी समझ में आया होगा कुछ constraints, या if tomorrow if I can see your policy I can help you with some hidden constraints है कि नहीं. Second is ये जो इंडस्ट्री होता है, it gets better and better and better. आपने जो पॉलिसी लिया था 2010 में, सपोज उस टाइम के बेस्ट पॉलिसी भी आज के टाइम के बेस्ट पॉलिसी के कंपैरिजन में नहीं होगा. There are so many better features that are there in these policies, so many different clauses that are also there. So sometimes you may need to have better features, and it's always good to check your policy once in 3 to 4 years. इसका similar premium का better policy आया है कि नहीं, and that's also something that we can help you. The third thing is it more cost efficient? Cost efficient, I don't mean sometimes cheaper भी हो सकता है, एक better policy cheaper price में मिल सकता है. I've seen this, but even if it's not cheaper, maybe you pay 2,000 or 3,000 extra, आपका room rent का capping निकल जाता है, and then you save lakhs of rupees at the end. So that's what I mean by efficiency. Then the next reason for porting is family structural changes. So if someone gets married, or sometimes unfortunately if you lose your partner, and ये जो पॉलिसी लिया था आपने, it was a good policy for 2 people, but single के लिए इतना efficient नहीं होगा शायद. So then you move to another policy. So this is another reason why why people port. And last is, if you, like I said, आपको अगर service ठीक से नहीं मिला, claims के time पे you didn't get any good support, then you may want to change because you're not happy with the last experience, right? So these are the reasons, major reasons for porting out. Okay. Now claims. So this was our magic bullet. We can port. But now talking about claim support hota kya actually? Let's understand this, right? If you go to any इंश्योरेंस कंपनी, उनका टोल फ्री नंबर वो लोग बड़ा सा लिखते हैं वेबसाइट पे वगैरह, आपके कार्ड में भी होगा. बट व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज क्लेम सपोर्ट? व्हाट इज द सपोर्ट वी नीड? सो क्लेम सपोर्ट, इफ यू सी एडमिशन के पहले some you should be able to call your claim support, that is your company, to ask them for क्या कवर होता है, क्या नहीं कवर होता है, एक्सेट्रा, नेटवर्क हॉस्पिटल्स के लिस्ट जो भी हो. देन ऑब्वियसली द सेटलमेंट के टाइम में पेपर वर्क ठीक से होना चाहिए, जल्दी भी होना चाहिए, फॉलोअप्स के बिना, ज्यादा फॉलोअप के बिना होना चाहिए. बट द मेन थिंग इज ना, most of these companies do only these first 3. That is, they will tell you your queries, they will do some settlement, they will cut the money and they'll give you. But actual चीज जो claim support होता है ना, what is actually good for claim support is this settlement review and conflict resolution, जो ये लोग कभी करते नहीं है. So settlement review का मतलब ये है कि, let me give an example, okay? तो ये claims के time पे काफी gray areas होते हैं, okay? So I'll give you one example of a gray area. So most policies, in fact 99.9% policies in India don't cover dental. Dental का cover नहीं होता उसमें, okay? So but accidents cover होता है, okay? Any accident, they tell you accidents are covered, but एक और point होगा आपके policy which says no dental treatments are covered. Now मेरा एक question है, अगर एक accident में अगर आपका jaw टूट जाता है suppose, okay, and उसका reconstruction surgery चाहिए, तो will it be covered or not? So I'm sure most people will say cover hona chahiye, okay, because we are on the other side. But what these companies will do is, first they will tell you when you write to them ना, मान लो आपका बिल 6 लाख का है, उन लोग ने 2 लाख दिया, they'll say 4 लाख इसलिए काट दिया गया है because dental is not covered. आपने आपका जो jaw का reconstruction surgery है, that comes under plastic surgery or it's dental, so we are not covering it. That's what they'll say. But actually speaking, this is always covered, okay, in reality. But ये लोग क्या करते हैं ना, they, like I told you, they want to, these people are trained, these call center people of health insurance companies are trained to try to cut corners and try to get little bit of money here and there from everybody. तो इनसे 1 लाख बच जाता है, उनसे 60,000 बच जाता है, उनसे 2 लाख बच जाएगा. तो when they do this, then totally they make profits. Okay, so that is why claim support at the time of claims, it is very important. So in this example, if you had somebody who can review your bill, मान लो कि आपका हो गया डिस्चार्ज, आपने आपका बिल था 6 लाख का, उसमें 4 लाख आपको देना था, 2 लाख कंपनी इंश्योरेंस कंपनी से आप निकल गए, क्या आप घर पहुंच गए. नाउ कोई रिव्यू कर सकता है क्या ये बिल? लाइक आइडियली यही होना चाहिए सपोर्ट, दैट यू गिव द पॉलिसी टू समवन and you give the bill and say please देख लीजिए ना, इसके हिसाब से ही हुआ है ना, मतलब कटिंग वगैरह कुछ ग्रे एरिया, मतलब कुछ लोचा नहीं हुआ ना. तो that is what someone needs to check, and if there is a problem with that, they should help you resolve this conflict with the insurance company, right? So to do that, this company जो intermediary है, this person who's supposed to help you should have a lot of history कि normally इस टाइप के केसेस में क्या होता है, and they should have a lot of leverage. Leverage का ये मतलब है कि somebody who has power with the insurance companies, and usually who has power with insurance companies, who gives more business to insurance companies, right? अगर if I give lots of business to insurance companies, then they will obviously listen to me because tomorrow I will move all my business to another company. ठीक है? तो और ये conflict resolution होते कैसे हैं? First, usually if it's a good intermediary that you have, they will first go to informal channel, like, and then उससे नहीं हुआ तो they'll go to the formal channel, they'll raise a complaint, and if the company does not solve that, then सब हर एक insurance company का एक grievance cell होता है, which is a rule, एक mandate होता है. So you can escalate it to grievance cell, and इससे भी अगर solve नहीं होता, then finally ombudsman is basically a judge. तो हर city में, हर town में rather, एक judge होता है. अपना जो बैंगलोर का है, he sits in JP Nagar, okay, and a lot of cases that go there, but you cannot go there alone, right? You need somebody to help you. So that's where good claim support. So just to come revise again, if you port to the right policy, that means you have good protection with you, and if you have good claim support to help you get that good protection that you have paid for, okay, this is the only thing that you need to do to plan to ensure that you don't have serious money loss due to health expenses in future. Okay. So now the one last point, a couple of points before we end is the sourcing debate. So now you have understood all this. You said, thank you, Rahul. समझ में आ गया, अभी ये सब हम लोग ठीक करेंगे. तो where should we buy a policy from? So should we buy a policy? मान लो कि HDFC का policy लेना है हमको. Should we buy from HDFC का site? ये है option 1. Second is, should we buy it from an aggregator like say Policy Bazaar? Is that option 2? Or should we buy from an intermediary individual? मतलब एक आपका एक neighbor होगा जो agent है, okay, उससे लेना है, या एक intermediary provider means a company which is also doing like your agent, वो बेचता है और आपको support भी देता है. So which out of these 4? Any guesses? Anybody wants to give any guess? They can in the chat box if you 1, 2, 3, or 4. I don't know if people are still.
I want to someone has said 4, Mr. Sanjay Kumar, but I want to understand what is the difference between intermediary individual and how would it be different from an intermediary provider?
Yeah. So intermediary individual is a person. They are both similar. Okay. They're both intermediaries. Only thing is this is the individual person like an agent. Okay. Who is your neighbor? He may be in your complex, or he's a cousin of yours, or anybody who comes with a bag. And he has tie-ups with a few companies and he sells you policies. An intermediary provider is a company. So the only difference, a company that also sells, like you have, think of it like a Policy Bazaar, but it's not just selling policy on an aggregator. It gives you advice. It gives you advice like this person, But the only difference is iska power jo hota hai na, I'll come to that answer. So someone has said 4, right? So somebody said 2, that is aggregator online, and some people think 3 or 4. Okay. So I'll go one by one. Now, so direct online means what? So I think nobody has said it, so I'm happy about that. So the direct online people like HDFC or ICICI or any of these, I don't worry about the name. I don't want to tarnish their name. I just give examples. In लोग का जो है ना, they want you to take policies directly because they don't want anybody to be there at the time of claim. For suppose these gray areas like this dental का accident example I told you ना, इन लोग को कोई आपके और उनके बीच में, they don't want anybody who knows the rules very well, because they can then play around, and in many cases they can use this to their advantage. So that is why ये लोग 2-3% discount भी देते हैं if you go directly online from their thing. It hardly comes to 500 rupees or 1000 rupees, but उसके लिए to go to them and pay, save 500 rupees for like 5 years, 2500 बच जाएगा आपका, and finally जो है जब time आता है, they will squeeze out lakhs from you. So this is out. The second is aggregator online like Policy Bazaar. I'm just an example, okay? Policy Bazaar, there are many aggregators out there. The reason for this aggregator online is because they make money only when you buy a new policy. When you renew the policy, they don't make much money. So for them, now service is not a very big important thing, according to me. In fact, for them, if you really look at it strategically, the more you change your policy through them, the better it is. They make more money, and they're very sales driven. Everybody in their company has a sales target. And that's why if you don't believe me, you can go and put your number in one of their websites and you will see the kind of attack you will be under. Okay. It's not funny, actually. It's actually quite stressful. And they'll just censor payment link, and WhatsApp pe kuch discussions hote hain. Person doesn't even come to your house, and then you buy a policy, and then later you will find the problems with that. Okay. So I don't suggest this. These two are actually very good. Okay. If it's a known person, suppose it's a known person, that is your cousin or someone known, it's still okay to take individual, but usually it's better to take it from the provider. The main reason, the difference between these two is these two people make their money only if your service is good, right? Because then only, because they are not mass market. These two are trying to do mass market. These two are trying to do for smaller set of people. Word of mouth se jata hai. If they do well, then more people suggest them and then they do. The only difference between these two is that this person, let's take an example, HDFC ka policy, he must be selling 25 policies in a month of HDFC, the individual. But this person will be selling 5,000 policies because he'll be doing an all India game. It's a company, inke 200 agents, 200 advisors honge who come and they get advice and they buy the policies. So when the time comes, when this person escalates let's say you have HDFC policy, when this person escalates or this person escalates, which one will they listen to more? This person, because this person's business is more important. I mean, it's just a fact. ये 5,000 policies per month देते, ये 25 policies per month देते. So that's why they listen to these people more. And that's from my experience. Okay. Of course, you may have your different opinions for this, and there is no right or wrong answer. But genuinely, I've seen that these two work better than these two. Okay. So now, a quick word about corporate policy. Some of you may be under your children's corporate plans. Now, I want to tell you that corporate plan is nothing but a group insurance policy. Group insurance mein ye hota hai, it's usually any group of people. It could be employees, it could be alumni groups, it could be any other organization. Isme kya hota hai na, the risk is pooled together. So group insurance mein wo log ye nahi puchte ki aapka current pre-existing condition kya hai, nothing. They just take the age of the person and then they group everyone together. तो मान लो एक कंपनी में suppose there are people with all age groups ना, सबका age लेके they just join them together and they put them in a group and they pool them together. They don't ask आपका existing disease क्या है वगैरह. So obviously that's an advantage, right? When existing diseases are covered. But the problem is, so it's very cost effective, like cost effective as in for us, right? The company is paying for us a part of it. It's less restrictive. उसमें restriction नहीं होता है, for example, for pre-existing condition, and support भी बहुत अच्छा होता है. Same logic. ये जो company में 1000 लोग हैं, 1000 लोग का policy has been given to, let's say, ICICI. ICICI will definitely give good support to this company. नहीं तो next year the company can easily change to somebody else. Take this entire group का crores में होता है इसका premium. This crores का premium will go to another company. So they give very good support also. But there's a problem here, and we can't depend on corporate plans for senior citizens का this thing only, because इसका coverage बहुत low होता है, महंगा होता है ये चीज, because it's less restrictive, महंगा होता है. So the company cannot afford it to be like more than say 5 lakhs. Most companies I've seen, first of all, only I would say 25% companies give this kind of a cover. Usme bhi maybe 15% include, 10% include parents in it, and usme bhi the cover will be very low. So because of that, it'll be, I've seen 2 lakh, 3 lakh, maximum 5 lakh in most companies as cover. And this is really hardly nothing. Today, you need at least 10 to 25 lakhs to cover yourself really, really safely. This is looking at the costs of all these kind of operations out there, chronic illnesses, repeated hospitalizations, etc. 10 to 25 lakh today. You may need more than that going forward. As of 2024, I'm telling you 10 to 25 lakhs. So this will not cover it. Second thing is low coverage ke alawa, a lot of companies are taking away this perk because instead of firing people, which you can see in the news all the time, isme both kharab press ho jata hai for these companies. So they try to remove perks. One of the first perks they're removing is health insurance, particularly for parents. Then the next thing is if your child has a job change suddenly, 10 साल के बाद या 5 साल के बाद, and then suddenly वहां पे नहीं होता है, this then you may not get a policy. You may be either too old to get a policy, or you may have some illnesses by the time, due to which companies may not give you the policy. So that is why you should get it when you're healthy, even if they have a corporate policy. And last is, of course, if your child moves internationally for studies or even to work there, then they know whatever coverage they have there will not cover their parents in India, right? So that is why I'm saying it's definitely good to have it. If you have it, you should use it. No doubt about it. You must use it. But don't depend on it for the don't depend on it forever, right? You can't depend on it for, especially as the older you get, the probability and the risk increases. You can't depend on it. Okay. Everything that I've said today, like I said, is relevant for anybody with health insurance, all these points. But it's just for senior citizens that we as a company, as Grey Up, we are there to help seniors, because seniors, we know that they are, income, the major part of income that they generate is over. So they have higher incidence, like more frequent hota hai, chronic bhi hota hai, to cost zyada hota hai, and they don't have they have limited income, right? So there's massive wealth erosion. But like I said, if you just think about these points, it's easily preventable with timely action. Just port it correctly, get a nice advisor with you, and make sure that you have good claim support. I think that's all that you need. Okay. So to summarize now, I'm just summarizing, and then there's the end, and I'll then look at the questions. I can see some questions in the chat box we'll address. First thing is, costs are really high. You can do all the mathematics to see if you save the amount of money that you have. I'm not supporting insurance. I'm not a fintech company. I'm a senior citizens. We are a senior citizens welfare organization. If you do the mathematics, you will see that having no policy just does not make sense. Okay. For senior citizens in today's costing in India and the kind of inflation that we see. Second, please do not look for deals. I also like a good deal. I look at a deal for everything that I buy, but this is one thing where looking for a deal, an agent will take advantage of that and give you policies with these kind of clauses where you will get the deal, you will save 2,000, 3,000 per year, but unfortunately, you will lose it at the time of this thing, and it will be very frustrating and very shocking, the kind of money that you lose because of that 2,000-3,000 rupees. Okay. So don't look for excessive deals. Of course, choose a policy and take it cheapest where you get it, but please make sure you have the best claim support. That's more important. Next is, don't source it wrongly. Like I said, please try, if you think what I'm saying makes sense, please have an intermediary with you and do not buy directly from portals or from the company directly or random agents. Next is company statistics. This is also something that you should look at. So when you buy a policy, there are 2 steps. First is which company. Second is company ke jitne bhi policies are which policy, right? So the company also matters. All these statistics are publicly available, like claim settlement ratio. Means the average claim settlement ratio is 90% of the industry. Means out of 100 claims, 90 settle ho jata hai. तो जिसका 90 से ऊपर 90 या 90 से ऊपर है, they are obviously good companies, and companies which are having less than 90 are not so good. And don't look for 1 year, look for some 3 to 5 years, right? Last 3 to 5 years ka. So that time, so if you have a good advisor, he will automatically do this for you, right? He will check and he will only tell you why ये जो 3 कंपनी है मैंने इग्नोर क्यों किया है, he will tell you. And so that should not be a problem. You don't need to do all this yourself, but all I'm saying is keep these stats in mind. And lastly, There are other things that I have not covered in this presentation, like restoration ek benefit hota hai. It's a very good option for seniors. Bonus, the kind of bonus system hota hai, like when you renew the policy, a no claim bonus, day care, a lot of operation like cataract वगैरह, ये जो है इसका hospitalization होने का जरूरत नहीं होता. You can go to the hospital and get out in 2-3 hours. तो ये इस type के procedures को हम लोग day care बोलते हैं. So day care also is something that needs to be there in your policy, so that those kind of things, otherwise they'll say hospitalization overnight nahi hua, so we will not participate in the claim, right? So that is the reason. So obviously, as you can see, I know it's not an easy thing. So having an intermediary advisor is not just favorable, but it's a necessity. Okay. That's it. We are GREAP. I just thought, and I didn't say this in the beginning. So we help senior citizens all over India to get health insurance fairly and transparently. We also help with will and legal services for senior citizens, and we also help with tax planning and filing for seniors. We basically want to de-risk the lives of seniors. In one single term is de-risk. It was there in that short note. We know that there's a lot of risk with health insurance. Money can go drastically. And the other thing I want to also say before I end this is, it's not only about money. It's also about the freedom to choose the best doctor, the best hospital, the best option. Procedures maybe they'll say is yes, ye bhi option hai, ye bhi option hai, ye teesra bhi hai, lekin ye mehenga hai, but that's the best one. If the money is going from your pocket, you don't have that freedom. And I know parents also, I'm also a son, so I've seen my father and my mother, and they sometimes feel guilty. They'll say nahi yahi chalega, first wala le lete hain, but we know that third wala lena chahiye, but insurance nahi hota. So don't think of it only as money and it's a math calculation, but it's also the freedom of selecting and taking the best for parents, for yourselves, for your spouse at that time. So we do all these three. I just want to end by saying that, we, for everybody here in this, in all Happy 60 Plus members or anybody attending this today, we'll be happy to do a free review of your existing policy or give you unbiased advice for a new policy for all of you, because we block our slots. So hum log ka ek slot system hota hai. So till 5th of September, usually I do this. I'm the founder of the company GREAP, and I usually keep my slots also, because especially when I speak to an audience, I like to take their cases personally. So I block all my slots for the next 1 week, just for my audience. So if you feel that you would like me to take a look at your policy, you can let me know. Or if you want advice for a fresh policy, you can let me know. If it's after 5th of September, we usually charge about 1,000 rupees plus GST. But it's absolutely free till 5th of September for any of you who want to review or take a new policy. Okay. That's about it. This is our number. This is our official number. You can take a quick screenshot or you can take a photo of it or something. But what I will do actually is I will actually get your numbers from Priyanka. I'll get it from Priyanka, who's from Happy 60 Plus, at least the people who have attended this session. I'll reach out to you. My name is Rahul from GREAP. And, if you're interested, you can tell me and we can schedule a time in the coming days. And then I will do you can share your policy with me if you have one. If you don't have, we can just do a call directly. And otherwise, we'll do a review call. So that's how we are trying to help people one by one. We have multiple hundreds of people now. And we are based in Bangalore, but it's not necessary you need to be in Bangalore. You can also share my number, our company number, and these details with anybody in your family. And we'll be more than happy to help. So with that, I'm sorry, I think I spoke a little over time, but thank you for that. And now I think I hope it was useful for you all. I will just look at some of the questions so that, okay. So
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you so much. This is very nice session. किसी और का कुछ question है? किसी को कुछ पूछना है insurance related?
Yeah, I had a question. Hi, my name is Ravi. Thanks for the session, Mr. Rahul. I just want to know, what is a zero claim problem? You mentioned there is a zero claim problem. So what is a zero claim problem actually?
Yeah. So one problem is that when you give a bill to them, suppose there is a 8 lakh bill, they will partially cover your claim, right? That means they will pay you 5 lakhs out of the 8 or 3 lakhs out of the 8. But the zero claim problem is that are those problems where they will say, we cannot participate in this hospitalization of yours. Did you get what I'm saying? I had put some reasons, right? So for example, if it's during the waiting period, so there's no calculation involved. They just think, sorry, you're not eligible for, even though you have a policy, this hospitalization of yours is not eligible.
Reason?
Reason could be because I told those 5 reasons. No? One is, I'll show you that I can show you that.
Yeah,
slide.
yeah. You showed, and one was like you gave that example of dental.
No, yeah, dental is one. No, dental I said from another point of view, but partial claim. But for example, I'll just share that here. So these were some of the reasons, right? 1 second, please.
It mentioned the waiting periods and all
Yeah,
that.
these ones, right? So I hope 1 second, I'll just. So these are the 5 reasons, right? So these are the 5 reasons where they will say, when I say zero claim problem, I mean they're not even participating in the claim. It could be because you lied about your pre-existing disease. You may be in the waiting period. Modern treatments are not covered at all by your policy. You have intimated them with a delay, not in the scheduled time frame, or your hospital is blacklisted.
Okay, yes, yes. So hospital blacklisted or hospital is not part of those the list of hospitals where you can go.
No, no. First, there is a list of hospitals that you can go. Okay.
Ah,
Called the cashless network list of that hospital. So let's say there are maybe there are 1,000 hospitals with, say, any company, right? Let's say New India Insurance, okay, has 1,000 hospitals. So you can go to any of those 1,000, you'll get cashless. But the rest of India, you can still go and get reimbursement. Nah, you can go.
Achha.
You can pay from your pocket and reimburse, except these blacklisted. So what they are saying is, so there are 3 types. So basically, there is a network hospital list where you can go and get cashless. There is a blacklisted hospitals where this insurance company will not participate
Okay.
because they have had some fraud experience with this hospital in the past. So they have blacklisted this hospital. Just like a network list you can go and see at any insurance company's website, you can also see the blacklisted hospital on that.
Okay. Just one question, clarification over here.
Yeah.
If the hospital is not blacklisted,
Hmm.
then, and we have some insurance company, we've not seen which hospitals are part of that insurance coverage. If not blacklisted, if we go to other hospitals, make the payment not for cashless, make the payment, we can get the reimbursement later.
Yes, of course. As per these terms and conditions, right? So for example, let's say I have a policy and my favorite doctor is working in some nursing home or some small medical center nearby, and I want that doctor only to do an operation on me, and they have the provision, but maybe the hospital is not part of my insurance. So in that case, I will go there. So usually most hospitals now have an insurance desk, right? So when you go there on the first day, you don't have to do all this. You don't have to do all this check actually, or you can go there 2 days in advance and you can show the policy and say, this is the policy from this company. This is what I have. Is it covered or not? If they say it's covered, yeah, we'll do the cashless thing, means only the difference you'll have to pay, right? But the difference can be large if you don't have a good policy. That's what I was trying to tell you. But if it's not in that list, then either you have to change the hospital or you can be ready to pay whatever's the total bill and then reimburse it. Any policy that you take in India is covered all India. It's covered by any hospital as far as it has got an official registration number of being a certified medical practitioner, which most hospitals are, most medical centers are. So you can go anywhere in any town, in any city, no problem. The only problem that you'll face is if it's 1 or 2 of those blacklists, like somewhere in a tier 3 town, there's lots of fraud sometimes happening maybe in that hospital. And so now you happen to be on a vacation there, seeing maybe in Kashmir somewhere, I'm just giving an example, or you could be in Munnar in Kerala, and it's a small town and something happens to someone you take into the hospital, that hospital could be blacklisted. Maybe the Manipals of the world may not be, or the Apollos may not be, but this is just one point I wanted to say for completeness.
Hi, Rahul. This is Purushottam here.
Yes, sir.
It was a really wonderful session.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm going to contact Grey up today itself.
Sure, sir.
I don't know whether you're open. That's a different issue. But I'm going to
No, you can
contact
always
Grey up
reach us.
today.
You can always reach us on that number, so you can WhatsApp us just a small hi and we'll get back to you.
Sure. I had one question.
Yes, sir.
I heard that if you make a claim even once, then you can't port the policy. Is it true?
No, that's untrue, sir. That's not true, sir. That's not true. So you can make a claim, you don't make a claim, that's just a past history. Obviously, when the new company is there, so what happens in a porting process, let me explain. Porting, one important point of porting is it should start about 1 month before the expiry of your policy, okay? So typically, if your policy ends today, 28th of August, if you want to renew it with the same company, you can come today also, and it's just a 5-minute job. We can go online and do it. But if you wanted to port out of your policy, maximum 30 days, it can also be done in 15 days, but I would say anything less than 10 days is like a little risky. So what happens is your new company, let's say you want to port from X to Y, And so Y will do everything. You don't have to even inform X anything. Y will go to X, find the history. And in that, in case you have a claim or in case you had some serious, obviously the new company that is taking you on board and going to cover you from day one will do a little bit of investigation. But the good news is you will get to know this well in advance, whether the new company is accepting you or not. And then you can decide whether, no, if they're not accepting you, continue with the old policy.
Yeah, sorry, I'm continuing. But
Mhm.
what if I haven't disclosed something in my previous policy?
So we'll have to see. So usually, so how we work is, so we can ask this with our insurance experts, right? It depends on what that's not disclosed, why it was not disclosed, does it have significant impact on your health going forward, etc. So for example, let's say, just let me give an example, right? Let's say uterus removal for women, right? So some women, they don't remember that this happened, or, it's so long back, maybe it happened 20 years back. A 65-year-old today has uterus removal 18 years back. They may not have even thought of it as a pre-existing condition. They forget to tell it. When you port it, it's okay. It's not a big problem because that does not actually hamper your illness, your future. It doesn't hamper your health going forward. So the risk profile of yours doesn't change too much. We can add it. But let's say you had a bypass surgery or you had cancer 10 years back and you did not disclose that. That could be a problem because that has a significant impact on your health profile going forward.
Thank you very much, Rahul. And I'm going to contact Grey right now.
Sure, sir,
Just
sure.
one query, if you don't mind. Sorry,
Yes.
taking up too much time.
No problem.
But do you take personal calls?
Yeah.
I wanted to contact you for this reason, porting the policy.
No, so you can just when you write to Grey Up, right? When you write to our thing, you can please just mention that you are on this session, and all those calls will come to me.
Sure. Thank
Okay.
you very much, Rahul.
No problem, sir. No
Thank you.
problem. Hope to help you. Let's see. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah. Can I just answer some of these questions on chat and then we will take some more questions? Is that okay? I just need 2-3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Someone said, Mr. Shiva Shankaran has asked, what is the best time to appeal? You can typically, most insurance policies will have some time limit. They'll say within which you need to put a claim. See, once you go to a company, whether it's cashless or reimbursement, you'll get a claim number. As long as you have a claim number in time. So you cannot, for example, let's say my father is hospitalized and today for 1 week and today is discharged. I cannot sit for 2 years and 2 years later wake up and take. No, they will have some limit. 90 days ke andar, you need to get that claim number. That's for reimbursement cases. So as long as you have that claim number and that claim is not yet settled, you can do it with the ombudsman. There's no time limit for that. I hope that answers that question. The next is, will the premium? Yeah, so thank you for reminding me, Mr. Ramakrishnan, sorry. The premium, IRDA's rule is that the premium is the same wherever you take the policy from, okay? Nobody can give you discounts. Actually, these companies, what they give you 2-3%, it's a discount, but they will say something that marketing cost deduction or something. They won't use the word discount. So you get 2-3%. So please remember that whatever I told you, this getting it from an intermediary provider is not going to increase the premium at all. Zero. Okay. So just want to be extremely clear about this. I'm sorry, I should have told this. So such an important point, but I forgot to mention this.
One more doubt, and the question is from me.
Yes.
And when the renewal comes, can we talk to you?
Yeah. So either you can reach out to us now or you can reach out to us at the time of renewal, as long as you just let me know about you, and so that I need to add you in my database that you will call later.
Okay. Thank you.
Actually, you can contact.
Sorry, Sunita ma'am, did you say something?
Did you register with us when you're attending this? Did you send your name and number?
Yes, Sumitra. Yeah.
And who's this, sir?
This is Ramakrishnan. It's through Bangalore Appointment Federation. I got it.
Oh, okay. So what I will do is that we will connect with you and
Sure. Anyway, I noted his number also. No problem.
Yes.
Thank you. There is one more question.
I'll just keep this open so in case anybody wants to.
There is one more question. Why you have not mentioned about New India or other old?
Yeah. So I'm coming. So So you see, these companies, there's a difference between public sector and private sector, just like it is in many other things. I'm not saying that New India or any of these companies are bad actually, but it's very person dependent, you know. It's like your luck. Many of them don't get, the reimbursement process is slower. Some of them require a lot more paperwork, and you need to go to their office to give it. They don't accept digital copies. They don't accept things on email. And then it's all your luck whom you meet that day in that is the experience that I have seen with many seniors. That is why many seniors that I have worked with have ported out of these policies. That's number one. The second thing is there's a lack of innovation in these companies. They are the last to take any new kind of features like restoration, the bonus system, etc., which actually helps senior citizens a lot. Yes, they come cheaper. I agree. They come maybe 10-15% cheaper, sometimes 10% cheaper than others, but some of them, they're not even cheaper and they're much worse in terms of features than what is there. A lot of people, they end up taking these New India insurance or whatever. I mean, just giving an example, 15 years back. So they would have started it in 2005 or 10, and they have no idea that whoever is the agent that they took from is just getting some money every year from this. And these agents, if they were a good one, they should have come to you and told that there are better options, but they don't do that. So because these agents also typically, you know, the ones who are doing for new in PSU, they don't do it for private sector, etc. So there are some rules there. So they don't come and tell you about the private sector companies. It's just like taking a phone from BSNL, right? You can take internet from BSNL. You can raise hands. How many of you take internet from BSNL today versus Airtel? It's just a service thing. Ultimately, the service you get cannot be compared. Price BSNL may be cheaper actually. The internet connection may be cheaper, but we know the problems at the time of something going down, etc. Right? Unfortunately, I wish it was not the case, but I don't have BSNL. I don't know about you.
Thank you.
But nothing bad in them. Please, I must tell again, nothing bad with any of these companies. It's just that we have to know what we're taking. I just don't want seniors to think they have a Rolls-Royce policy when they have a Maruti.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
pay for a
You're-
Maruti, then you have a Maruti. That's okay, right?
That's true. You're perfectly right.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Then someone has also said, Manisha Jain, I don't know if she's on the call. I have a HDFC policy. I haven't made any claim for 8 years. This one says that no claim bonus is added. If some insurance is being added 20K per year, it is being added, but in the policy amount doesn't show. Yeah, so you can please send it to me, Manisha ma'am. You can send it to me. I hope you got my number. You can send your policy. We'll always ask for your policy, you know, anyway. So you can show it to me and I'll let you know if, you know, something is there or not. Yeah, and then I would like you to review. Sure. Alka ma'am, you can please reach out if you like. Sanjay sir, that's fine. I have a quick question regarding super senior citizens health insurance. This is Deepa ma'am.
Hey, Rahul. Hi.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Deepa here with you. Thank you for this session. Real eye opener, I must say. There are a lot of things that we miss out.
Sure.
Thank you so much for that.
Sure.
The question regarding the super senior insurance policies, why are a lot of companies wary of giving insurance to super seniors? The first thing they say is, no, maybe the premium will be too high. It's better not to do. What is the reason for that?
So I think, ma'am, I think these companies also have some limited bandwidth. So, making a product, I think if you have to design one policy, there's a lot of number crunching, and not a single policy as per their mandate within a company needs to be loss making. So there's a lot of number crunching. It's a little bit of a chicken and egg problem. The more data you have, that is, let's say suppose you have 10 million Indians in the age of 50 to 60 who have policies, then you have the data of 10 million people. You can see what frequency they're getting ill, what's the average bill size, and they can make more policies. This is a little bit of a chicken and egg problem. Earlier, super seniors never had policies available. So now there is no data also available for super seniors. So everyone is shying away from making because there's not enough data. They don't know how to plan this, right? The other thing is that even if someone does take that step, right, they will be super cautious. So they are going to charge you some crazy amount, maybe, I don't know, 2 lakhs a year or something for a super senior. I'm just giving an example. And the other thing is also that super seniors tend to usually have some pre-existing, if it's a healthy super senior, maybe still there is a reasonable possibility of getting an option. But if it's a person who's got some past illness, or whether it's cancer or heart related or liver disease, kidney disease, anything chronic, they won't touch. And see, I have a person who's actually now 61 years old. She had cancer when she was 51 years old, and she had breast cancer, and then luckily within the same year she was fully cured. And 10 years down the line, she's a marathon runner today, marathon runner. So 61 years old, she can outrun me. She can outrun most people who are in their 30s. But even she is not getting a policy, simply because once she got cancer, in her health risk profile, it is highly likely, or it is, I don't know the data, but they feel that it is likely that there will be another cancer episode going forward. So it's not really the age. So what I want to come back to you is not really the age that causes the problem. It is more the pre-existing condition and the health profile of the person, which is of course tied to age also. So super seniors, that's the reason why they shy away from it. But having said that, it's not necessary. You may not get one, but it's not necessary you won't get one because of age. You may not get one because of the pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I get that, but most of them don't even bother asking if there is a PED. They just go on that road saying
Right.
that, no, it's,
Right.
what is your personal take on it? If
Yeah,
you
so
have to
before April of this year, before April of 2024, you would hardly get any policies fresh for people above the age of 65. But after April 2024, IRDA has, you must have seen, there were these forwards going around, which has said that irrespective of age, I think this is also what Alka Saxena is asking, that irrespective of age, every company must have some option. That means if someone like you were to approach a company before April 2024, they would say, sorry, ma'am, we don't have policies for anybody above, forget super senior, even for a 70-year-old or a 68-year-old, it was not available. But now every company is mandated that they must open up at least one or two of their policies out of their list of policies for any age group. But the problem you will see there is there also, ultimately, they will try to minimize their risk. So, see, even you or me would not give it to somebody. Like if I'm collecting, say, 1 lakh from you, but if I know that there is and you may pay this for the next 5 years, let's say you're already 80 years old, you may live till 85 or 90. So let's say 5 to 10 years, you're going to pay me this 1 lakh. I'm going to get 5 to 10 lakhs from you. But if I know for reasonably sure, given your history, that there's going to be 20 or 30 lakhs outgo from me, even I may not renew, no? I may not give you that policy, right? You may also not give somebody if the probability is that likely. That's the problem.
Great. Thank you so much.
So yeah, thank you everyone. A lot of questions also came in and they were well answered by Rahul, and I'm sure most of your queries must have been answered by him. It's been a wonderful session, Rahul, and we are glad to have you with us. And while having said that, I have a request to all the members who attended. We will be sending you a Google link to give you your review about today's session. And along with this, we also have a request that I also want to let you know that we have a lot of, while insurance is being talked about, one thing I would like to say, insurance happens, you take these kind of coverages for anything that has happened to you, and then you require a coverage. Happy 60 Plus does a lot of things to prevent a lot of disease, problems, mental or physical. And we would request you, in fact, we would be sending across to you our brochure, and if you go through our website, we do a lot of activities for the senior citizens to keep, or it is a preventive action, your yoga sessions, chair yoga sessions, meditation, mindfulness sessions. A lot of these happen on a regular basis. Kindly avail these facilities, participate in them. There are certain paid sessions, very good sessions for your mental well-being, for your memory, focus and all, because with age, all these things require, certain attention. So please try to explore more of the things that we are doing. And apart from that, we have an annual membership for all the members. If they take our annual membership, lot of these webinars keep happening. We also have partnered with companies to provide you special discounts to our members, whether it's for Noora. Many companies have partnered with us that you can see on our website, and we can let you know. So go through that also and avail our other services and become a annual member of Happy 60 Plus. and so that you can avail more and more facilities, discounts. Like GreyUp is one of our partners. We have will making partners who help in will making, who help in financial advisory, who help in emotional well-being. We have psychologists. So if you take any of our sessions, all the members who are part of Happy 60 Plus, they get certain discounts from our partner companies also, including Noora, which does AI imagery of the entire body to scan for any problems, health issues that you're having. So this is one thing I really wanted to speak about, because after every session, somehow a lot of questions. And having said that, I have a request to all the members who attended. We will be sending you a Google link to give you your review about today's session. And along with this, we also have a request that I also want to let you know that we have a lot of, while insurance is being talked about, one thing I would like to say, insurance happens, you take these kind of coverages for anything that has happened to you, and then you require a coverage. Happy 60 Plus does a lot of things to prevent a lot of disease, problems, mental or physical. And we would request you, in fact, we would be sending across to you our brochure, and if you go through our website, we do a lot of activities for the senior citizens to keep, or it is a preventive action. Your yoga sessions, chair yoga sessions, meditation, mindfulness sessions, a lot of these happen on a regular basis. Kindly avail these facilities, participate in them. There are certain paid sessions, very good sessions for your mental well-being, for your memory, focus and all, because with age, all these things require, certain attention. So please try to explore more of the things that we are doing.